Sam, lads?
Yeah, pretty much what Gav said, to be honest. We're going into the unknown with him. I personally don't know him. I've heard good things about what he did with the United youth team, and obviously his style of plays looks like it's transpiring on the pitch. We're keeping it on the ground a lot until Smith comes on anyway, and then we revert back to hoofball, or it seems to be. I don't know whether that's the players having it in their head that they've got a focal point up front, but from the pre-season friendlies I've seen, I've been happy with early doors, the way they've started, the way it seems to be quick, it seems to be on the ground, it seems to be with skill and a little bit of finesse, and some of the new lads seem busy up top. So again, ever the optimist, but yeah, like I said earlier, just going into the unknown with him. Time will tell what he's like as a person and how he transpires, with his interviews and stuff like that. But yeah, give the lad a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very easy now. I'll probably put myself into this category where you fall into the vortex of, being sucked up around the media of you need this big, massive manager. We're a big club with big aspirations, and it needs to be an ex-Premier League Championship manager that's going to take us forward. And obviously, a lot of people think the concern was, well, he's not really had that senior experience, but he's certainly not the Manchester under-23s manager for no reason. So, and I think you can sort of see it's going to bring a completely new dimension to our team, because I think previous seasons where we've brought in like Gary Bowyer, Graham Alexander, where they've been around the leagues for quite a few years, they've obviously got players in mind that they know they can bring in and rely on. But if you look at some of the players we've signed in the past, they're kind of on the cusp. But it's no disrespect to the likes of Adam Rooney and players of that, Maynard and that age category, but they're not necessarily the future. And I think with Neil Wood coming in, you can see, and we'll go through the signings that we've made, It's very apparent that actually the direction that we want to go in with Neil Wood. So, but we'll come on to signings. While we're talking about signings, and Adam, will come to you. First person I want to speak about is Callum Hendry. Thoughts on this bad boy?
Very impressed. I mean, again, a striker that's come out of nowhere. They've done well because obviously they've gone through the Scottish divisions and gone up there, and we've signed someone that no one's heard of. Again, it's one of those, you go on Wikipedia, you've got to find out his stats and stuff, but stats don't say everything. And he's a busy player. He causes a lot of problems. He's quick on the ball, but he's one of those. He isn't the greedy type. He does like looking out wide, and I think he does use the options out wide good, because he knows that it's all right against Blackpool. He's in a difficult position. He can't get a shot off. He'll look out wide and then get into the box and cause a bit of a problem. And that's something we're missing. Yes, we've got Matt Smith, who will make that run in the back post, but once that ball gets cleared, he hasn't got the pace to get out of there. And I think with Hendry, he's going to be a problem all around the pitch. He's going to come deep, receive the ball, but always look out wide. So it's going to be a good investment for us as a club.
Yeah, I think, again, this is another topic where you look at in the Facebook groups, like League Two group, and everybody's chomping at who's got the best player, and this player is going to set the league on fire. And I think when it comes to a striker, that we all want that 20-plus goal striker, don't we? If you look at, Dom Telford, last season got 25, 26 goals in League Two. If we had that type of player in our team, where could we finish? And I think that's the problem we've had the last couple of years is goals. Defensively, we've been pretty tight compared to most in the division, but when it comes to scoring goals, we kind of a bit dry on that side of things. So he's obviously come from Blackburn Rovers in the youth setup, and we know that there's a lot really good players come through that. Obviously, his dad came from Blackburn with Colin Hendry, so he's come from he's got good pedigree in him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of him this season. Elliot Watt, he wants to take the reins on this one. Elliot Watt.
One row sitting, yeah, brilliant. Again, from what I've seen of him in pre-season, seems all right. I don't know too much about the lad, if I'm being honest. I don't know if Adam knows a little bit, because he seems like to be the stat master and have a little look at them and where they've been and what they've done. But like I said, what I've seen of the majority of the new signings, I've liked the look of. So I can't really pass comment too much about what he's done and what he is, but yeah, from what I've seen of him, he seems all right. So Adam, I don't know if you want to enlighten us a little bit more to him of who he is as a player. If you have got his stats there, I'm not too sure.
To be honest though, I think with Watt, the one thing I saw with him, he's a very good player. He likes sitting deep, he likes receiving the ball. I think you can tell he was a defender. I don't know whether he was, but I have a feeling that he's a defender, move midfielder, because he always likes sitting nicely in front of the back four, back three, back five, whatever we're playing. He sits and he's that last line before the defensive line. Yeah. And it's very good for us because I think we've got, if you think about it, we've got Jason Lowe. Jason Lowe's one of those players. He was brought in to doing that. Matty Lund, but Matty Lund likes to run. Jason Lowe fits nicely at the full-back position. So now we've actually got someone who's going to fit nicely in a team where he can actually dictate the play around him.
Watson, that's one of them types of players as well. So that'd be interesting to see how those three kind of fit into a team together, or if they alternate or what. But yeah, it'd be interesting, that one.
It's good to have options, though, isn't it? I think if you've got nobody on the bench that can, if, say, for instance, you start with Watson and, after 60, 65 minutes, you just need to put that fresh pair of legs, and maybe he's having a 6 out of 10 game. You've got somebody there with, that's got that quality in him, but, he is only 22. And I read some of the Bradford comments, because obviously, as you do, you go onto the forums to see what they think about him. And it was kind of like, oh yeah, you've signed a rubbish player because he was part of our spine and we didn't get we didn't finish high up in the league and he was one of those players that was at fault there. But I'm like, he's 22, he's not even in his prime yet, and I think again with his age, with Neil Wood and his kind of methods, he could get the best out of him. If he gets the best out of him, he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. So he's played under 17s, under 19s, under 21s for Scotland. So I know Scottish football, we might have our own opinions on Scottish football, but he's got appearances there, so he's obviously got something about him.
Yeah, I think as a player, if you get an international call up and it's not just the one, he's called up for the 17s, like I said, 19s, 21s, there's something there, and hopefully it does spark something for us. But I think with the signings we made, we've signed youth instead of experience, and I think that's the route they're going down. Like we were saying about the manager, it was very much an appointment where I kind of thought, because I didn't know, and I think that's what everyone thought, you don't know about him, you don't know what it is, and in a way it could be a surprise package for us. It could be one of those where he knows at his age he's making that step into EFL, into Football League. He wants to prove a point himself, but he's bringing lads in who have probably been undermined or being looked at as kind of thought, they're too young, they're not going to make it, and he's brought them in. Hopefully they do spark us on, and we do surprise a few this year, because like you say, the signings like Bradford have made, they're signing players left, right and centre, but they've got a manager like Mark Hughes. They've got top money to do that, and by all means go ahead and do that. We're making signings that are coming under the radar, and we used to do it in the past where we could call a signing out before it even got announced, whereas these signings, no one even knew these were coming in. They've all come in the radar, and it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right, definitely right there, Adam. One for you then, Gav. Hit the next player, completely random. I'm going to throw one at you. People say we might not be as good in defence with him because it'd be quite leaky. Ryan Leake.
Right, yes. So thanks for that intro. From what I've seen, like I said, if you would have asked me about obviously Callum Ender, a striker, or Elliot Watts or Stevie Mallon, I think they look very. They know what, before the ball comes to them, they know what they're doing next. You can tell they're footballers. With this Leake, to be honest, he's only been there a couple of games, and I've not necessarily seen anything. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that he isn't a good player. But yeah, no, because was it against Blackpool or whatever? I mean, he was very left-sided. He was very in the left-back position a lot of the time, even though he was left centre-back, wasn't he? So, to be honest, he needs time. I don't think he'll start. The first 6 months, I don't think we'll see much of him. Yeah. I think he needs to settle in. But again, he's got an history of coming through the academies, and I think after Christmas, even maybe next year, I think he's more one for the future. I don't think he's one who will be playing in August, so to say, unless we get some injuries, and he has to. But he just doesn't look as though someone who's about to hit the ground. He needs to settle in first for me. But like I say, he's obviously got something about him, and like I say, so
I think was he at Burton last season? I think in a conversation at the Blackpool game, and I think one of the lads who we were talking to before the kickoff said that he actually struggled to get in Burton's team on a consistent basis. I don't know. I know they're at a higher level, but yeah, I hope, again, ever the optimist. Hope he does all right. But what I've seen of him is, he's been all right. But nothing to scream and shout about at the minute.
Well, I suppose. Sorry, Adam.
So I just think with him, obviously we don't know a lot about him. Like I said, with a lot of other players we didn't see. Blackpool was his only game. It was his debut game. Like again, he got that one, and then he's straight into Mansfield on the Saturday. It's a bit of a tough one to throw at. Just go, there you go, straight in. But in a way, I looked at it and kind of thought, is it a panic buy? Because obviously it was announced during the week on the fan forum that Turnbull had rejected a contract, and we needed a centre half to strengthen it. Easton hasn't made any appearances in pre-season. Is it because he's still carrying a knock? Is he a risk? Obviously, you want to strengthen it, and in a way, we've waited, and you can tell they've waited. They've waited for Turnbull. They thought he was going to accept it, and he hasn't, but they've waited for him, and they've waited too long. So now we've brought in a player like Ryan Leake, who could be something special, but we've not had a good time to actually see or let him settle into a back three, back four, whatever. But in a player that's going to be consistent for us this year, as Vassell, he's going to be quality, but he needs someone next to him that's going to be consistently playing alongside him. We can't keep changing it, because that's where we slip up if we keep changing it. If it's an injury, then it obviously has to be done. But if we're just changing it to give last minutes, then it's not going to be as successful as we want it to be.
Probably shows that as well. Sorry, Martin, just to touch on that with the signing of that Richard Narty, the trialist. Yeah. They might have been waiting on Turnbull, and now they've probably not panicked as such, but thought, well, Turnbull's gone now, so we need cover in that defensive area, because although we had a good game against Rotherham, I think his contract's only a year in it, so it's a suck it and see scenario, I think, with him. Obviously, seeing how he is in League Two when it means something. I'm not necessarily saying against better players, because Rotherham are a good team, and he did very, very well. But it probably just shows, like I said, that they maybe were waiting on Turnbull to hopefully sign, and he didn't. So they've invested in Narty.
Well, I think we can talk about the new signings, but I think what Adam mentioned there, Vassell, you can kind of forget that he is effectively a new signing in terms of nailing him down on a contract. He was very solid last season. He loves a dogged fight with any attacker. He doesn't shirk any challenges. You know what you get with him. And I think if we could have any player to play at the back, we probably would have signed Ndaba. But obviously, I'm sure we would have had conversations. But look, he's at Ipswich, and fair play. I'm sure he'll get his opportunity at a higher level, and fair play to that. So, but yeah, just to finish on Leakey, I went onto the Burton website, and they were berating Hasselbank and the board for letting him go. They were saying that he's a young player, a bit of a starlet in terms of they've got an aging back four, and he fitted the bill from the games he did play. That the fans really enjoyed his work ethic and his play. So again, we've not seen a lot of him, and time will tell. But it just goes to show the type of caliber that we're signing. So okay, Stevie Mallon. This seems to be player one that a lot of people are getting excited about. So who wants to start with Stevie Mallon?
I'll take it if you want.
Go on then. The easy one, yeah.
I just think I don't know, I was looking at obviously how the managers played in the past with United, and I kind of think he's going for a back three with using like Lowe or Shepherd as wing backs. So having a player like Mallon in the middle is a good option, because as you've seen in pre-season, he wants to take free kicks. He's got good distribution on corners. So having a player like that who is solid in the middle, it's good because also he's a grafter getting back, and it shows that we actually have got players now who want to run back and forth and cover ground. But obviously, we don't know where this lad's come from. Obviously, he's been in the Scottish League and then he's been in the Turkish League. So he's been around. But again, it's another good pickup for the club because I see a lot of potential in the lad. I do think he's going to shine this year. And hopefully, he's going to be that surprise package that we have been wanting in the midfield depth. Because we have got the likes of Matty Lund, who was, for us last year, was very good, but inconsistent with injuries and suspensions and stuff like that. And again, he's got a 2-match ban start of the season, so you've got to kind of fill that midfield gap, but you don't want to fill it by bringing in anyone. And I kind of think we've done well by bringing in a player of this calibre, and hopefully it does make the difference.
Yeah, for sure. I think, I mean, he's had 9 under-21 again international appearances. So it shows, I think it's pretty difficult once you get over under 21s because when you go into we have to say that going on to Scottish international football, but you look at the players that are in that senior setup now in Scotland, it's quite tough to break into that now because a lot of them are made up with Premier League players and it's a high standard. So I don't think just because, they kind of go, oh, he's done under 21s, he's not progressed. I think that'd be a bit unfair. But again, like I say, he's played in the Turkish Liga, a set-piece specialist maybe, but again, it's exciting I think the signings we made overall are pretty good. The one that came a little bit left field that people kind of gone, who? Was Elliot Samos. A very young lad, obviously been around in sort of Sporting Lisbon, Benfica setups, and then came over to England to FC United youth, and then he obviously went into the senior team for a period of time, and then he's gone on to, play, Barnsley, Doncaster, limited appearances, and then went over to Nantes in the French league. So I don't know anything about him, to be honest. And have we seen him play?
I kind of seen him at FC. I think we played him in a pre-season game, and he came on, and it was one of those. I think at the time he was a trialist.
Yeah.
And then they took him on, but it was one of those when I think there was a big post on social media about him because obviously he made that jump from FC United to Barnsley. It was like, where's this lad come from?
Yeah.
From being a now playing in League One football. Obviously there was a big thing about him, but again, a young lad who's clearly got a lot of potential and hopefully can burst onto the scene in the EFL for us.
I think he's someone that you could. I don't see him starting. I could see him being on the bench. Someone who, if you need him a goal in the last 15, 20 minutes, someone who's just a little bit of a spark, he's got a bit of pace, likes to run at defenders, a bit. I could see him a little bit like an Asante, where he likes to run at people. He's got the strength and the pace, but again, I've not seen anything. I don't know anything about him, but I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to see what he's about. And I think we touched on Richard Nate. I think it'd be unfair not to mention anything about him. Again, 12 years through the Chelsea academy. That's no mean feat, though. To be fair, is it?
Definitely not. And again, from what we've seen of him in the Rotherham game was very, very good. He hardly put a foot wrong, in my opinion. But I would have liked to have seen him trial maybe in the Blackpool game, or if we were speaking to him before that, I would have liked to have seen him in one or two other pre-season friendlies to make a fair assumption on him. But definitely from the Rotherham game, certainly deserved another game or two with us, just to see how he bedded in. But no, good luck to the lad. Like I said, it is a suck it and see contract, only being a year. But no, again, wish him all the luck in the world. He looked all right for the Rotherham game. Again, I don't know whether Rotherham played a strong side or not because I don't follow them or know them too well. But he didn't make any mistakes for me.
I think did we play against him last year? Sorry,
he was on the bench for Mansfield, wasn't he?
Right.
I don't think he came on though.
I'm sure I've seen him before in the last 2 seasons, and like I say, when I first saw him, I thought actually we've got a good one here. I think we can throw him straight in, and he seems quite mature, quite straight. He doesn't seem erratic. Yeah. And I seem to remember seeing him somewhere where he is quite a no-nonsense, do the job sort of defender. And I won't be surprised if he starts us in the next 2 games, depending on injuries.
I think obviously because he's 22, but I think to your point there, Gav, it seems to have been a name that you've heard for quite a few years. where you've heard that name, and then all of a sudden Salford sign him. You go, I've heard of him, but I don't know where from. But I have heard of the name. But yeah, I mean, look, we're 6 signings. Do we think we're still a few short, or I mean, the squad looks a little bit tight, doesn't it, in numbers?
Well, we were talking about this before we went live, me and Gavin. I said, obviously, every fan wants to see an abundance of signings coming through, but it's then what you do with them and how you gel them. The 6 that have come in, hopefully, Neil's had a good look at a few of the lads and can start integrating them into the team. No disrespect to Tom King, I would have liked to have seen a keeper. Obviously, with the World Cup coming up as well in the winter, and he's the Welsh third choice keeper. Are we going to lose him for a period of time as well, which is a bit worrying with no real backup? So I would have liked to have seen a keeper, obviously, just to keep him on his toes, and they can fight out for that number 1 spot. But fairly happy. Like I said, everybody wants to see more, but the keeper scenario was the only one I was a bit disappointed not to see a signing there. But there's still a bit of time, so we'll see.
I think first knows how long we've actually brought 6 signings in. Like normally it's like end of season, 10, 12 players go, and we're bringing in 20 odd lads in, and it's like a big revamp on the whole squad. Whereas we brought 6 lads in, and I'm the same with Rousey. I would love to have seen another keeper. We missed out on Conor Rippler. I was devastated with that because I think he did well on a free transfer. Morecambe, again, they're offering it's League One football, so he's gone there. It's a big jump for him. Good on him. But we definitely need a backup keeper because I don't think we don't see that Joel Torrance or whatever his surname. Again, he plays in like the development side, whereas he's that lad that's good in the warm-up, having lads taking shots at him, but he's not going to be in any contention over Tom King. So we need to bring someone in, whether that be someone on loan or it just be a loanee signing for a season, or we bring someone in buying someone. We just need another keeper, and I think that's the one area we need to strengthen. Is not saying Tom King's not good enough, but if we have got the World Cup coming, which we do, he's going away for that however long it is, and we're missing out. And if we're on a good run and we bring in a keeper who's not up to standard, who just gets thrown in the deep end like we have done in the past, we're going to end up rowing a boat again.
Yeah, I think last season, I'm sure we was quite short in depth, to be honest. So it surprises me that we haven't brought in more than 6. But I think we brought in 6 maybe decent players who they've looked at rather than we'll just grab him from there, throw money here, throw money there. So there's a good chance over the next 4 or 5 weeks we might bring in 3 or 4 loan players. So instead of just throwing money. So maybe that's the answer. We will get 3 or 4 more loan players to add some depth, but not just kids, as in maybe a bit of experience from the higher leagues.
Hopefully Karen's watching and she knows what to do. So Karen, sort it.
We'll definitely. I did contact the club actually with the media team, so I'm waiting to hear back. It would be nice going forward. I know we're going off on a tangent here a little bit, but it would be nice that we get to a position where, get one of the players on for 5 minutes, just and completely, not to throw him under the bus or anything, just kind of say, how's training been? Are we prepared? Are we looking forward to the next game? Hopefully we'll get that relationship going forward. Right, I think we should move on. Pre-season, I don't want to go into it too much, and we can go through the results of what they are in pre-season, but what's pre-season about? What do you guys think pre-season's about?
Well, again, I've not been to all the games, and I don't really want to count the Salford 11 games because they've been so random in terms of the teams. But the ones that I've watched and I've read up on, like I said, for me, it's about getting your style of football and getting your fitness up. And they were the 2 things that we kind of mentioned early doors. I like the way that they're playing now. Whether that will work in League 2 is another thing that we'll obviously find out over the next couple of weeks. But I've been happy with it. The results have been a little bit hit and miss. It was a bit disappointing to score last minute against Rotherham. didn't really get much of a sniff at Blackpool, but you look at the calibre of team there that we were playing, it's a bit understandable. But the other results, the Warrington one, the Newcastle Town, and the behind closed doors games, obviously beating Halifax 3-0, we must be, Neil Wood must be relatively happy with that. So, I'm pretty happy with it, to be fair. I don't think you can take much out of it other than the lads listening to you, in terms of what you want to do with the ball and how you want to play the game. We said about Malin before, at least we've got someone now that can get the ball in the box, from set pieces and stuff like that. So again, ever the optimist. I think we've done all right.
Go on, Gav.
I didn't say anything.
I could see you chomping. He was going.
I can see it.
Yeah, to be honest, very, very similar to what Anthony just said. But to keep it to a certain extent, short and sweet for me, we've got a new manager who came in with a different background from what we've had. So not a League Two background, not a Championship, what have you background. And he had to come in and get his message across. He had to change what some of the players have been doing and seeing and how we've been playing. He had to change what we're doing because although we've not done bad the last couple of seasons, we needed change, whether it's where we play or who's up front and what have you. I needed change. So from the first couple of games against Newcastle and Warrington, I was like a bit worried. But again, I forgot. I wasn't thinking, he's got to get his message across. He's had a small amount of time to do it. So when you go watching him against Rotherham, especially, even the Blackpool to a certain extent, you can see that the message is coming across. And with the players who are coming in, they are obviously learning something. It will take time, but hopefully by this Saturday, they've got a good solid basis of what he wants. Yeah. And if they do what he wants, then hopefully the pre-season, all the hard work they've done, which we don't see, will show on Saturday and over the next few weeks. So yeah, I think it's been probably very tough for them because learning a new style, not so to a certain extent. But I think pre-season's definitely been good.
Yeah. Adam, anything to
add? One thing obviously I've seen from the manager in pre-season, which I was impressed with, was the way he carried himself. In the first 10-15 minutes, he kind of just sat back, stood with his assistant and just letting the lads play football. If there was an error, he wasn't down the throat straight away. It was one of those, he just let it slide, obviously, and then he deals with it when he deals with it. But I think he's one of those who got a surprise package. I feel like we're going to, because obviously me in the South Stand, I'm going to stand right behind him this season. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of what I don't expect from him because we don't know what we're going to expect. But I feel like I'm going to see something that is going to go, whoa, okay, he's got a bit of a fire inside him. But I think in pre-season, he sat back, he's let the lads play their football, he's let them show him why he's brought them in. Instead of basically saying, I've got this player in because he's amazing, he's top, blah, blah, blah. He's basically gone, I've got this player in, now you've got to prove to the rest of the team and the fans why I brought you to this club. And that's what they've done. You've got players who, as we sit here now, we're saying, well, yeah, they've brought good players in because we've seen it in pre-season. It's not one of those where they've brought on and they've done like a 10-minute spell, they've got a clap from the whole fans and walked off the pitch. They've actually put a shift in. And I think we have been unfortunate, like you said, in the Rotherham game, the Blackpool game. But again, it's pre-season and I am confident. And I think a lot of people, a lot of other teams especially, look at pre-season results and go, you got beat. It's pre-season at the end of the day. It's to get your feet in the water. You just want to see how it goes. And I kind of think we've got stuck in. We've got a good squad. Obviously, we need to strengthen in the keeper area, and probably a few more out wide. But apart from that, we've got something exciting here. I'm glad that we've invested in someone who should surprise us because, like I said, we don't know about him, don't know what he's got to offer, but hopefully it is something that's going to shock us and help us massively.
Yeah, I think, and again, going back to what I mentioned before about how we, in the past we have signed, I'll say, experienced players where, likes of Main, and again, I'm throwing these names out. It's nothing to do with them, specifically, but we kind of, Barry's players were 32, 33. Not for 1 minute suggesting that they are just coming for the pay packet, but at the end of the day, football is a short-lived career. They want to make as much money as they can before they retire. I get that. I just think with the youngsters, Neil Wood, that's where his experience at under 23s kicks in, because he knows how to get the best out of youngsters. He knows how to communicate to them. He knows. I'm sure he'll put his expectations across those players. I don't think. I'm sure he has got a fiery side, because I think sometimes players need a bit of a kicking. But I can see him being the type of manager that tactically is very gifted. I think with the youngsters, he'll know how to get the best out of them, which is only going to benefit us, because these young lads, 22, 23-year-olds, they've got something to prove. They want to play at the highest level, and whether that's getting Salford up into the higher levels and playing with Salford, or they put themselves in a good position where teams go, actually, he's pretty decent. But either way, we're going to benefit from that. So, really excited. I think pre-season is what it is. It's about getting your fitness levels up, trying out systems, gelling the players in that you brought in, and there's nothing more, nothing less, really, is it? So, good pre-season overall. And like I say, some good results. Doesn't matter, but it's one of them. When you play, say, like Newcastle Town or Warrington Rylands, and you get like a 7-2, you're kind of going, oh yeah, great. But it's only pre-season. But as soon as you get like a draw against Rotherham, and we should have won in the last minute, you kind of go, oh, we nearly beat Rotherham in there in Championship. So it's hard to not get excited because it's just pre-season, but you can't help get involved because it's like, oh, we nearly beat Rotherham. So season expectations, chaps. I mean, every year we're getting into the nitty gritty now. This is where it gets good. So every year we are the favourites to go up. The expectation from the owners is there to get promotion. We've not done it in the last 2 or 3 years, but what are the expectations this season from a fan's perspective?
Who do you want to answer that?
Everyone's like, go on, Gav. Go on.
All right, yeah, no worries. Again, bringing in Neil Wood, so it's confused me a bit to think. So before we were having a chat before, hadn't we? So I went straight to the facts about the season. So we played 46 matches. Last year, you had to win 23 of them to get promoted. We won 19, so it was only 4 behind them. The season before, it was 24 wins, and we won 19 again. So we're not necessarily far away. So I'm hoping that we can just get some consistency. We can a couple more wins. We have a lot of draws, so it's with them draws into wins, and I'll be happy. So I'm not about to say yes, we're about to do great, or no, we're about to do bad. I just think if we can get them wins in the bag, get ourselves in the draw next April, May, when obviously end of the season. And this last season, I think we faded out a bit. We just couldn't. We didn't have the goals in us. No. If we can just get in that position again, I'll be happy. With some added goals, then like I said, get into the playoffs. But I'm not going to get too excited yet because I'm cautious with Neil Wood, with his experience. I think he's about to bring us a structure. Is he about to bring us a League 2 title or playoffs? Or promotion, hopefully. But yeah, I'm more concerned if we can convert some of them draws into a win, we'll do well.
Rousey, anything to add?
Yeah, I do think we're going to be there or thereabouts again. I think Gav's right. When you look at our previous 2 seasons, we have only just slightly missed out in terms of that points ratio needed or win games ratio that was needed. We did need goals. Whether Endry will bring that, yeah, I hope so. But like I said, time will tell with it. What does worry me is the start of the season, the games that we've got. I think the first 6 or 7 are against tough, like teams that were up there or have just come down. That worries me because I don't want to have a bad start and then be playing catch up. I think those first 6 or 7 games will tell us where we're going to, how the season's going to go, I think. I do think we'll be there or thereabouts, but I think that once we get those first 6 or 7 out of the way, we'll have a better picture of how things are going to go, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Adam?
I'm saying 7th or 8th. I think we'll. I'm hoping playoffs. I'm not going saying I'll be up there straight away, right up top, first, second, first. I'm saying 7th. I feel like we'll just make the playoffs, and if we don't, we'll just miss out. But we were just saying, obviously, about the keeper and Neil Wood working at United. There's one keeper who impressed me last year. He was on loan at Mansfield, Nathan Bishop. He's at United, been brought from Southend. So it could be one of those where we might be looking at him bringing the keeper. He's worked with Neil Wood last year, or he's worked at Neil Wood in under 23 since he's been at United since 2020. It could be a case of us bringing a player like that, but I feel like we have got an exciting season ahead. I'm the same with Gal. I'm not going to jump boat straight away and go, but there. I feel like January just gone, we brought in very good players. It was probably the best transfer window we've had in a while in January, where we've brought in Watson, Smith. We brought in players we needed, and I think it helped us push. Unfortunately, we missed out, but it helps us push. And if we didn't make them signings, we wouldn't have been anywhere near there, because we've brought in players that actually fitted what we needed as the squad. They looked and went, okay, we need a striker who's going to score goals. Matt Smith, wow, what a player. We've seen him play in the Premier League, in the Championship, League 2, League 1. He's done EFL, he's done it all, and he's come into a squad, instant impact. Ryan Watson the same. In Derby, he was unreal last year, but we made signings last year that benefited the squad. And again, I just feel like we need a few more loanees, bring in about 2 or 3 loanee players that could spark us, and then I'm still saying playoffs this year. Playoffs, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think you've got to be realistic, and whilst there'll be Salford fans that will expect the same expectations as the owners. I think when you go to the games, I found last season that because you've got the expectation from above, and it's rightly so to a certain degree, I kind of found myself not enjoying the football matches because in the back of my mind, thinking we've got to win this game because we've got to get promoted, rather than going to a game and going, do you know what? Let's enjoy it, and where we finish, we finish. Because I think we've all been happy in the last couple of seasons just to get stability in League Two. The league isn't always anything. We're a team that's come from non-league. There's teams in there that have been in League One, Championship, been in the Premier League before, and we're coming into this league expecting that we're going to win it and get promoted. So I'm with the consensus with everybody else is I just want to go and enjoy the football. Let's see. We signed some youngsters. We've got a new manager. I hope we stick with Neil Wood. I hope he does, unless he's doing a really bad job. But I think we need to get some stability on the manager side of things. As long as he's doing a decent job, he's getting his message across, he's bringing in the right players, and taking the team forward, then it gets my vote. So I'm just looking forward to the season starts. And like, as you say, Rouse, we've got first 6 games is going to be tough, and it'll give us a point of indication of where we're sitting. So yeah, looking forward to it, but it's going to be tough. But I think we're going to do okay. I think we're going to have a good season. I've just got to feel whether I'm just excited for football. I think I'm just getting too excited. So.
But, we know what we're like. We get an easy season. We go, oh yeah, it's easy this, and then we end up getting slapped. And we used to do it all the time against Altrincham. Like, we used to look at Altrincham and go, oh, the bottom of the table are relegated, and then play the whole beat, and you kind of like, you're that team who were getting beat off the team who were already relegated.
Yeah.
And one of those we can't switch off this year. We can't at all. We need to go into the season with the expectations of we give 100% every game, to the point where lads are coming off looking like they've just been in battle. But it's going to be a tough season regardless. We know obviously other teams have increased in depth and experience, but like Ralph said, we've got a tough opening few games, but we come away with 6-7 points out of them games, or even full points in every game, then we're not laughing, but we've got a good start, and it builds momentum, and hopefully everyone else can increase it, and it mean we get more fans in the ground, hopefully.
Definitely. Do you know, I was going to say there, Adam, you kind of took my point away there, was the first 6 games there, we either do well in those 6 games, and we get, there's 18 points up for grabs. We get, 14, 15 points out of them. confidence is going to be there. Can I go, well, do you know what? We know we can compete. The team that we've played these teams. You've got teams that have come down from League One. You don't know how they can perform. It's dead easy to go, well, they've come down, surely they'll go straight back up. They'll find a level. There was obviously too poor for League One. They'll find a level in League Two, but again, likes of Doncaster coming down, Gillingham, it just gets tougher and tougher each season, doesn't it? So, but for once, the bookies don't have us favourites.
Bradford is top.
I did see one report, I think in the Yorkshire Telegraph or something, which did have us favourites. So I wanted to ignore that, to be honest. But just going back to what Anthony said, and you've all just joined in then about this tough start. And Frank, obviously, Adam said, obviously, if we can come out of that and maybe we win them all or we do well, is the difference between doing well and doing bad is if we do like Adam says, we come out of it with confidence, with let's say 18 points, we've still got under our belt 12 defeats as well. Because the average team who gets promoted loses about 12 matches a season. If we lose 6 matches in our first 10 matches, we've only got from October to the end of the season another 6 we can lose if we want to be going up. So again, an unbeaten start, I think, is very important, but extremely, extremely tough. With you saying about the teams coming down, Adam was saying, I think Bradford's one of the strongest ones at it, which have strengthened and whatsoever. But if we get an unbeaten start, get some confidence, like say, it's keeping them defeats in our bag because we are about to get beat. It doesn't matter. Everyone gets beat. Yeah. It's just like I say, these first 6 matches, which are tough. If we can get through them, then like I say, I think you mentioned the crowd, the capacity of the crowd going up, the expectations of the fan, and the enjoyment as well. You mentioned enjoyment. Like I said, you go to a match when we're a bit stressed, what have you, the atmosphere is terrible. Wherever you go, whichever football ground, I won't say especially Salford, but as soon as we get a little winning run, everyone's a bit more chirpy, we're a bit more having, oh yes, we're best friends again. Like I said, the players will feed on that. They will feed on the negativity and the positivity from the stands. So we've all got our own part to play as well. It's not just Neil Wood saying tactically, us getting behind the team and being positive. Even when we are struggling, we've still got to try to be positive.
No one knows anyway. We'll win those first 6 games and then lose the next bleeding 12 against the teams we should be beating.
I can't say that.
I know. Sorry, I'm predicting it. I'm going to put a tenner on it now.
Well, to be fair, I'm not going to endorse any betting companies, but just looking at some of the odds where I've dragged it from, and not the Yorkshire paper or anything, but Stockport County, aren't they favourites now?
Stockport.
Is that kind of again? We've had this where obviously Stockport County have been taken over. They got promoted. I actually think that I've watched them in the FA Cup last year, and Dave Challoner, the manager there. He puts out a good organised team. But again, is this kind of like bookies kind of suggesting that they've got money, they could buy the league if they want it, because it's happened with us and. I get the impression, not to discount Stockport County in any way, but again, I think they're in this similar position of when we first came up, we've got the favourites tag, when actually it wasn't the case. Or do we think Stockport County are going to walk it?
I think it's more the atmosphere, because we've been to Stockport many times and watched them, and obviously when we played them, and it's the atmosphere they have, that it's unreal. Like, they could fill a ground, and they are a previous Football League club, so to be back in after how many years, they're going to want to do amazing. They want to hit the road running. And, I mean, I won't say they were favourites. They are favourites, but I won't say they were up there in my prediction. But again, I think it's more down to the atmosphere they produce. Like, they could fill a ground and produce an atmosphere for a friendly. They could do it for a match. Whereas you've got other grounds as well as ourselves where we can't even fill it. But they have got a good following and a good backing, and that is what a club feeds off. And I think that's what Stockport are probably tipped for, because of the following and because of all that backing they've got. Yes, they probably could bring in a few players that could surprise us, or they could not. I won't say buy the league, because they've not even made signings that have like Bradford have made the big signings. Bradford are signing players from the Championship, and then again, that's more down to the manager. You've got Mark Hughes, who's managed them in the past, and they've kind of gone, just come and play for us. I'd say Bradford and Stockport are up there. 1, because Bradford have got the money and they've spent well. 2, because Bradford again have got a good following. But Stockport, again, for me, they just have a massive following, and that is why they're up there. I won't say it's anything to do with the footballing aspect. I think it's more the following. Again, the Arrow side, I'm not going to knock them, because last year they were unbelievable, they were unreal. But again, I think in this season, it's more because of the following they bring.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, to be honest, I think, Adam, because bookies are a business. They're not about saying little town from wherever, they're about the favourites. They always put the big teams as favourites, always put the ones with big, massive fan followers as favourites, because they want people to chuck the tenner on. And with Salford being favourites, it's because of the hype around, obviously, the class of 92, whatsoever. So they want people to be chucking a tenner on. So the favourites are normally always, like Adam says, due to the big followings and whatsoever. This stage in the season, who's got a cat in hell's chance of winning the league? Everybody. Everybody. So yeah, I think the bookies side of it, I sometimes do just have a bit of a laugh, but I never put a tenner on Leicester, so I'm gutted.
There you go. Another one. They surprised us all, but I think your bookies, like you said, it's a business. They just want to surprise a few by going, oh, okay. Everyone looks at it and goes, oh, Stockport, Bradford up there as the favourites. Oh, well, my club's not up there. And the thing is, it's every club. If Salford fans were going to say Salford are going to be up there, Stockport fans are going to say they're up there, Stevenage fans are going to say they're up there. Every team's going to say they're up somewhere. But I think it's more down to how we play as a team. And again, we know as fans of how long we've been there that we have slipped up in the past with either signed players who we only brought in because we had the money and we kind of thought we're in the Football League, let's throw money at big players. We did that, it backfired, and now the club are actually doing it the right way, but they've had to learn from it, and I think that's what it is. We've learned from it in the past. We've been there, we've done that, we've seen it all, but as a team from Salford, or a team from a little city like us, to have been to Wembley, to have witnessed what we've witnessed, you can't really knock us. So I'm hoping we actually are that surprise package this year, that people kind of like write us off early and go, Salford, they'll do nothing. They'll come in, they'll think they can do it, and then we can actually surprise them by going, all right, okay, we've beat you 1-0. I'm not saying we've got to go to every game and beat them 4-5-0. I love a good 1-0 game, because you're sat there squeaky bum time for 90 minutes. We get a 90th minute winner. I'm happy. Yeah. I'm not. But as long as we want 4-0. 4-0 all day. Yeah, I mean, I'd love it, honestly. If we got a word to a game and we were winning 5-0.
Especially against Stockport as well. I'd love it if we beat them 4-0.
West Ham's a 4-0ers.
We've got Keegan in the room there, haven't we?
Yeah, I'd love it if we beat them.
I mean, I was going to come up with a point there. One thing I'm just hoping for is, if we're ever on live TV, which we're always on live TV, by the way, is at the stop corners. Salford really annoys me. Yeah. It really annoys me.
They probably do it on purpose to wind us up.
Well, I mean, a quick run through. Stockport County 6-1, Bradford Northampton 7-1, Salford 8, Mansfield 9. Then it drops to Doncaster 16-1. So bookies have got five teams in a running, 3 automatic places.
I'd honestly take that. I think it relieves a little bit of the pressure.
8-1
that we're not favourites, but be guaranteed they will be 10 teams in the mix come the end of the season, if not more. So I don't think anyone will run away with it. It doesn't matter who's favourites for me, as long as we're pushing, or we're in the mix towards the last 4 or 5 games of the season. I think that's all we can ask for at this stage.
Another fascinating stat I found when it comes to the bookies is we've got 3 players in the top 12 goal scorer of the top goal scorer of the league. So we've got Colin Hendry. He's making a comeback. Callum Hendry. Callum Hendry, 16-1. Conor McElhenney, 18s. And Matt Smith at 22s. So
I mean, one of those, last year he was injured and we didn't see a lot of him. And I'm hoping this year he does come out of his shell and actually shows us why he brought him in. Because I remember at the time when we got told we were bringing in a player because the club did it in a way where they went, oh, top goal scorer for his club last year, this many goals. And I looked at it and went, we signed Paul Mullin. And I messaged Zara and I went, we've not signed Paul Mullin. She went, he's better. And then Conor McElhaney got announced. I went, I wouldn't say he was better. I was a bit more, I kind of thought he was knocking it back and just saying, yeah. But the thing is, he got injured and we didn't get to see him at his best, and hopefully he's actually took a lot of recovery time and he's going to come back and actually show us why we brought him in. But again, it's down to how the manager wants to play this year. I've not really seen, every pre-season game he's trying to switch up the formation he wants to play. It's either been a 3-5-2, a 4-4-2, 4-5-1, whatever what he wants to play. Come Saturday, when he actually starts his 11, we'll know what formation he wants to play and we'll know his options and stuff like this for the season. But I know, we've kept players that I kind of thought we were going to slip out. I kind of thought we were going to lose the Brandon. I thought Brandon was going. I kind of thought the amount of interest he had all the way through last season, he was going to go. I didn't keep Matty Lund. I didn't think we'd keep players that we have. Ibs, massive to keep him. I mean, he's the only player to still be here from the originals. It is. It just shows how committed he is to the club, and it is good to see that we still have got players who are playing because they loved what the club are offering. And I'm hoping that obviously with what the club are producing this year, and what we've been told, and this access all areas pass to watch training and stuff like that, it shows that the club actually want to invest back into the community and back into to give back to the fans, and it is good to see, and hopefully it is start something new for us.
Yeah, I was saying to Gavin Rousey before you jumped on, Adam, obviously talking about the new committee for the fans and things like that, and the things that they're doing on social media, and like you say, they're inviting people down at training. Okay, it's not the most sociable time for most if you're working, but it's better than nothing, and at least they're inviting people to just get a little bit closer to the team, and because obviously those who were back in the non-league days where you kind of had that you had that connection with the players, likes of Knotts and Scotty B, and you can talk to them on a personal level, and they'll come over and talk, or they'll jump in the bar, and I might not always have a pint, but I'm talking that's the Northern Prem days, but I think it's good that in the day, it's professional football. You're not going to have that connection with most players. It's just the way it goes. Professional footballers, they want the space, but the club can do something, and I think they're doing the right things. I hope that continues through the season, and I think it is about, we need to get more people through the turnstiles to really take us to the next level, and just make it a place where teams don't want to come. It's a bit of a soulless place. It was last season, and hopefully we can make it in a place where people don't want to come to Salford for all the right reasons.
Yeah, for all the right reasons, definitely. I agree with that. I think that's what they're trying to do, or what they're seemingly trying to do, is make the place a bit more family friendly again, and they seem to be putting things into place pretty early, which is good. Hopefully it works. So
they said it at the end of last year, and it was something that I'll always remember, so I'm hoping they do live by it, was they want to give the non-league experience but with a football league atmosphere. And that's what we all want. Like, don't get me wrong. If someone said to me, "You're going to watch Salford tomorrow in National League North, you're playing Worcester or Gloucester or something like that away," you're like, "Yeah, take me," because you go into all these places that you've never heard of before, these little towns, and it was an atmosphere. It was amazing. I loved it, and I'm glad that I grew up doing that.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting to witness the big clubs and seeing all this. But the non-league life we had was amazing. And if the club can bring that atmosphere back and treat it like we are in the non-league days still, then lads, I think everyone, the club itself will boost from that, because it's what a lot of people are missing. A lot of people miss having a pint at the side of the pitch, walking around at half-time, swapping ends like you used to do.
Yeah.
All things like that people would love to still do, people are missing. And I think it's, if they can bring the atmosphere, as much as they can't let us walk around the pitch or have a pint at the game, as much as they bring back that kind of atmosphere, I think it's going to be better for the club.
Yeah, we'll benefit from it, won't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Well, we obviously can't leave the podcast without actually talking about what's important this Saturday. So we've got obviously our promotion rivals on the first game of the season, Mansfield Town. We had a mixed bag of results last season where we got beat 2-1, I think, at their place, and I think the second to last game or something like that last season at home, we drew 2-2, which I'm still a little bit bitter about because I actually thought we played really well. And we could talk about the push that Turnbull did on their player was, opinionated. But it's a fresh season. What do we think about Mansfield? I know that sounds like a beginning of a chant, but we've got to keep it friendly. What do we think of Mansfield?
Well, the positive thing is we've just had a little nosy on their website, and I think there are a few missing for our game due to injury and suspension. So that's pretty interesting. Hopefully they're not at full fitness, but look, they're going to be tough. We know that they're a good side. I would personally take a draw, but it'd be good to get the win early doors and get up and running, like we said earlier. But if we're talking predictions, I do think it's going to be a very, very cagey game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in it personally, but prove me wrong, lads. Go out there and win 3 and 4-0. But personally, I think it's going to be very, very tight. We know they're a good side. It doesn't matter about injuries. I think they'll be well drilled. They'll be up there come the end of the season. But yeah, like I said, hopefully they do it. But I think it's going to be close.
Yes. So a little bit like what Anthony just said. When I think of Mansfield, I think about them last season, and they were a far superior team to us. But like you mentioned before, when they came to our game at 2-2, it's one of the best games we played at home, and we matched them. We matched them. We probably should have won that game. I think we should. But Mansfield are a good team. We can't take that away from them. A few injuries. They got is it Ollie Hawkins suspended and what have you. First game of season, is it better not getting beat and getting the point? So I'm going 3-0 to Salford.
Ooh, straight in, Gav.
They're having it.
I'll write it down 1 second.
Write it down.
Gav said 3-0.
See what the bookies say.
The home game was the one that was televised, and if we won, would have pushed us to playoffs.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Being at that game, if you give away a cheap free kick at the end of the box, you've got a free kick specialist who did us twice last year, and that's Stephen McLaughlin. He did us at their place and he did us at our place, and I mean we need to learn from that. I mean, if you've got a player like that who can produce unreal free kicks every game, when I think all he scores is free kicks. But no, I think again we're playing a good team, a drill team, but again I feel like we've got a bit more of an edge this season, so I'm going to say 2-1.
So yeah, I was going to give you a prediction afterwards, but my prediction is the same as yours, Adam, 2-1. I mean, just talking, I know rather than looking backwards, it should be back forwards. We haven't really got much to go off at the moment because nobody's played a game, so we can't kind of go, well, they're on this form and they're this, they're that, and we could exploit this and do this and that. But I mean, just going, one thing's for certain is last season, the 4 goals they scored against us were all set piece. All right, three free kicks and 1 penalty. But again, the penalty came from a free kick near the halfway line that was put into the box. And subsequently, we put a push on their play and they got a penalty. And that, I think, if we can manage that going into Saturday, we tighten up and maybe not give away stupid free kicks because that's what they're going to want to do, get in and around the area. If we can nullify that, our goals did come from set pieces, so we can score goals in normal play, and I think that will put us in good stead. But yeah, Adam, like that, obviously Stephen McLaughlin, he's one to watch. Who else did they put in here to keep an eye out?
He might actually be one of them players injured. Fingers crossed.
That would be a shame, wouldn't it? I mean, they had Matty Longstaff in there, didn't they, from Newcastle? Yeah. Obviously, George Lapsley is a good player as well, and like you say, Gav, they were really one of the best teams last season, and obviously got to the playoff final. I mean, got spanked 3-0 off Port Vale, and the best team won on the day. But it's without doubt going to be a very tough game on Saturday. But I'm just glad that football's back, and hopefully we can start off with a win. And let's see what happens. And hopefully we'll get on next week. We'll review how Mansfield went, see if Gav was right with his 3-0. And obviously we'll look ahead to the next game as well. So is there anything you guys want to finish up on?
No, all good from me.
Get a ticket.
Get a ticket.
Yeah, well,
I think, correct me, I'm sure, Adam, you'll be able to confirm this. After the game, they've got the fans Q&A with Neil Wood.
Yeah.
In Bucks Bar. Yeah, so that's until 7 p.m. So